99% of photographers have their own unique kit consisting of camera gear specifically curated for the type of photography they do. While some have multiple camera bodies, tons of different lenses, others are just happy carrying one. I, on the other hand, sit between the minimalist category as well as sort of maybe the overthinker. So today I thought I'd share a little bit about what's inside of my camera bag for 2025, as well as share the different loadouts that I have for those specific genres of photography. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about here is what camera bag am I using? Now, I typically cycle between two different camera bags, a smaller camera bag for when I want to travel light, as well as sort of like my full kit bag, which is slightly bigger, but still fairly small. So the smaller bag that I typically like to use is the Clever Supply Co. Sidekick Pro. I think it's the perfect little size for when you want to go out and make images and not carry too much gear. But the bag that you've most likely seen me use on this YouTube channel for, I want to say about 2 years now, is also from Clever Supply Co. But this one is going to be the Camera Sling. I've taken this bag with me everywhere, in Vietnam, New York in the pouring rain. I've taken this thing to Texas. I mean, every single place and environment that I brought it to, it has performed very, very well. All right, so let's talk about the first loadout here, which is going to be consisting of only 35mm film cameras. Now, this is the loadout that I pretty much use, I want to say 80% of the time. I am always shooting film. A lot of my work, especially for larger bodies of work, are made strictly on film. So this is sort of the kit that I use for more serious work. So the first camera, and probably the camera that I use about 95% of the time here, is my Leica M6. Now, this is my workhorse camera. I put over 1,000 rolls of film through it easily. And a lot of my work that you see on Instagram, as well as just like some paid shoots as well, are done through the Leica M6. Now, the lens that I have currently paired up with it is the 28mm Thypoc 1.4, a spherical lens. Now, this is going to be a little bit different because this one on the bottom has a focusing tab built into it. This one's actually set to release pretty soon here, but thankfully I was able to get it early and I'm currently still in the testing stages. The lens that I typically have always mounted on my camera is the Voigtlander 28mm f2, a spherical lens. Now, this is going to be the version 2 of this lens here, and you can kind of tell because of the focusing tab on the bottom, but this is a very, very sharp lens. Probably the best value in terms of a 28mm lens for the Leica M-mount system. Now, there are some days where on the M6 I want to carry around a more telephoto lens, and so the lens that I have for that is the Thypoc Simera 75mm 1.4, and this lens actually performs very, very well. I have no complaints, but to be completely transparent here, I probably only have used this lens maybe 4 times out of the year. When I am going out by myself for just a few hours, the camera I like to bring around with me is actually this Fujifilm Class. Now, it's a point and shoot film camera. It has aperture priority. You can actually control your focus as well, which is insane. And this lens right here, man, it just renders colors beautifully and it's extremely, extremely sharp. Now, one of the most versatile things you could have in your camera bag is an on-camera flash. The one that I personally use is the Kex KF01, and I love this flash. It is tiny, it's powerful, it's strong. You can put it on a flash cord in case you want to do some like off-camera street photography flash, but it sits really nice on my M6 as well. And one of the advantages, of course, of this flash is just how compact it is. There's really no excuse not to carry a flash anymore when you have something like this. And the last thing you'll see me carry here in my street photography kit is going to be this I.O. Greer x Clever Supply Co. Film holder. Now, it looks like a glasses case, but once you open it up and unbuckle it off of this beautiful leather finish, on the inside it actually has a holder for about 5 rolls of film. Now, in terms of actual 35mm film that I've been shooting lately, I've been really leaning towards the cheaper Kodak film stocks like Ultramax as well as Kodak Gold. I don't know, I just love the look of Kodak Gold, and that's been sort of the film that I've been shooting mostly this year. Now, the next loadout that we're going to be talking about is a little bit controversial, and trust me, I'll get into it. I will explain it all. But before we jump into that, folks, I want to give a huge thank you and shout out to the sponsor of this episode, which is the good folks over at Squarespace. Squarespace is your all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your photography business. Now, one of the best ways to represent yourself online as a photographer is to create your own professional website. And if you're like me and you don't know how to design your own website, Squarespace has you covered with the cutting-edge design tools. They have something called Blueprint AI, which is sort of like AI technology. It's going to ask you a couple of questions and help craft your perfect website for you. You also have the option to just use one of their award-winning templates to get your website up and running within minutes. In addition to your portfolio, you can also add in appointment scheduling, which is going to allow your clients to see what time slots you have available so they can book you directly all in one place. And one of my favorite things is you can actually set up your own professional e-commerce store. So you can sell prints, you can even just sell your services directly through there. I mean, there's an endless amount of things that you could sell on your website so you can get your photography business to thrive. So if you haven't already, head over to squarespace.com/KingJapes and enter promo code KingJapes at checkout, and that's going to give you 10% off of your first purchase of a domain or a website. And a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. All right, so the digital loadout consists of 3 different cameras. The first one here is going to be the Fujifilm X-E1. Now, I use this camera mainly to document everyday life. If I just want to go out with my friends or even like my family, I will take the Fujifilm X-E1. Now, I actually made a video a couple of months back saying that I was getting rid of all of my Fujifilm cameras, but the one camera that I kept was the X-E1. And the reason for that is because of the sensor. The sensor on the X-E1 gives you this beautiful kind of filmic look, especially using this portrait recipe that I found online. Shout out to 112 Cameras. I just can't get over it. And you know, I sold off the X Pro 2. I did have an X-T3 at one point, sold that off as well. But the X-E1 is the one that I kept. Now I have 3 different lenses for the Fuji X-E1. The first one is going to be mounted on the camera here, the 23mm f2, probably my favorite legacy Fujifilm lens. But I also have a 56mm 1.7 from Viltrox that's going to give me roughly an 85mm equivalent, as well as a 35mm 1.7, which is going to give me roughly a 52.5, so around a 50mm. Next camera on this list here is going to be my Olympus OM3. Now, I made an entire video about this camera when I went to Vietnam, and oh my goodness, I was blown away with the images just straight out of the camera. I've never actually been a Micro Four Thirds photographer. This is the first Micro Four Thirds camera that I've ever owned, and I was just surprised at how well this camera can handle different lighting situations, especially when you utilize that color profile and you adjust it to the colors that you want. You get something comparable to a Fujifilm camera. I think it's very, very hard to describe, you know, the differences between film simulation as well as utilizing the creative dial to your advantage, because it's not the same thing. You're gonna be able to set different profiles on the OM3, but it is nothing like the Fujifilm system. The lens that I have on it here is the 17mm 1.8 Mark II, which of course is very, very sharp. Now, the third camera that I have in the digital lineup here is actually a Digicam. Now, the one that I've been using lately is actually this one right here. It's gonna be the Canon PowerShot SX620HS. And this is a freaking powerhouse. It has 20.1 megapixels, 25x optical zoom. I take this thing with me everywhere. When I go to parties, when I go to concerts even. It records video as well, which is insane to me. You know, if you're not a serious photographer and you want a camera that is going to just give you sort of that party-esque kind of feel to it that's not your iPhone, this is the camera to go for. So landscape photography has been sort of a weird process for me because I don't consider myself a landscape photography whatsoever. I consider myself sort of just like a documentary photographer or street photographer, if you will. But living in California, I do find myself in a ton of beautiful landscapes. And when I do, I like to often bring medium format cameras, specifically my Pentax 6.7 and my Rolleiflex. Now, these are the 2 cameras that I pretty much take a lot of my landscapes on. The Pentax 6.7 that I have right in front of me here is just a behemoth. It shoots 6x7 medium format negative. Quality is absolutely insane. I love that you can take the prism off here on top so you can get sort of like a top-down view as well. And the lens that I have currently mounted on it is my 105mm 2.4 Pentax Super Takumar lens, which sadly fell off of my tripod a few months ago, resulting in this ugly dent. Now, I do have one additional lens, which is the 55mm f4, which is going to give me roughly around a 28mm equivalent, so a bit more wide than the 105 2.4 that gives me about a 50mm equivalent. But there is a new kid on the block, and that is the Rolleiflex 2.8D. But I've gotten to shoot with this camera a lot recently, and I've fallen deeply in love with it. There's just something about the quality of the images that come out of this TLR camera. That 2.8 lens, it's just gorgeous. I shoot about a roll through it maybe once a week, and it's always constantly in my rotation, even if I am not shooting landscapes. In terms of what 120 film I typically like to use, especially when I'm shooting portraits, I love Portra 400. But for everything else, as you may have already heard, I like using Kodak Gold. Kodak Gold is my favorite 120 film. I like it a little bit more than Portra when it comes to medium format, and I highly recommend you check it out. If you haven't tried 120 Kodak Gold, there's just something special about it, some unique characteristics to it that really speaks volume. So if you want to check that out, I'm going to leave some links in the description below where you can check out some of my camera gear from today's video. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like down below, and also consider hitting that subscribe button so that we can get to 200K, and I will be giving away a ton of different 35mm film cameras. All right, Minolta gang, I'll see you in the next one.